Just call it.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to our excellent Thursday night lives. We're still trying to figure out a name here for this, so bear with us as we figure that out. But welcome, everybody who's going to join us tonight. As most of you know, I am Alex from Manny Talk Shooting, as noted, the Manny in charge, along with my co-host in this endeavor, Mr. Corey Katz. Corey, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm great, Manny. How are you?
I am fantastic. I blame you for this endeavor, but it's going to be great.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
So, for everyone out there in the chat, hello, welcome, and we're going to have an awesome conversation today. So, uh, I guess we need to start off, Corey, by telling the awesome listeners what we're doing here. I guess what our plans for these weekly live streams are. You want to go ahead and share that with the lovely listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So our plans for this live stream is effectively it's an overview of the news in shooting. So just a general overview. We try to be positive. And our goal is to be positive, but we're not going to sugarcoat things here. So we're going to give you our honest opinion about what's going on in the shooting sports right now.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. We will definitely be sharing the good, the bad, and our personal opinions. So if you don't like our personal opinions, that might be a little problem too. Corey and we definitely agree on a lot of topics, but we definitely do disagree on things too, as good friends should, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so you're
As
not always going to get yes, man, and yes, sir, and all that stuff. We might disagree on something. Hopefully, we disagree on something because then we can have a good conversation about it.
Oh, absolutely. If we don't disagree on things, I mean, we probably come to the same conclusions at the end of the day. But yes, it's definitely a boring conversation for everyone else watching. For us to just agree with me or you. It's good to see Hunters HD Gold and Chris from the 740 out in the chat so far. We appreciate you, gentlemen. Brian is a great supporter of the shooting sports, and he kind of at least got me inspired to do a live stream after watching his this week in shooting kind of show on Tuesdays that he's too busy now to do. So it is always good to see him out in the chat.
Yeah, that's kind of I don't want to take away from what Brian does because Brian does a lot, and but that's kind of the real reason why I was kind of interested in this was Brian hasn't been able to do that on a consistent basis. So I figure, if Manny and I can pick up and assist Brian in making sure that we're spreading the news about all the awesome things going on in the shooting sports, we can do that a little bit with assistance of Brian.
Right, absolutely. And for anyone out in the chat, I do want to I want to make an announcement. So for tonight only, um, we've got until midnight tomorrow night. So you've got until the end of September 1st at midnight. If you follow both Manny Talk Shooting and the Hunters HD Gold on Rumble, you can then get $200 off a pair of HD Gold Rubies or the new Active Blues. Corey, you and I both need a pair of Active Blues. Once you do so, go ahead and over there and follow. Go and email. God, it's a long day. I can already tell. Email Brian at huntershdgold.com, and we'll get you taken care of right away. But we appreciate Brian promoting that this tonight. So I'll share a couple times throughout the live. But yeah, go follow both of those on Rumble. We're going to grow Rumble and use that as another platform to push. So we'll be out there on YouTube, Rumble, wherever we got. So go and check that out and do so. I'll talk about that more later. I see my buddy Doug from South Carolina is in the chat. Welcome, Doug. Nice to see you, sir. But yeah, so Corey, we did some things in shooting, not this last weekend, but the weekend before. Do you want to share what you did in shooting last week?
Yeah, sure. So I was director of stats at the Battle for the North Coast, which was the sixth year that the guys up at Crooked Creek Conservation League have put on a level 2 match. So this was my fifth year working the match, fourth year running stats up there. I know it's always a great time with the crew up at Battle for the North Coast.
Right, and it seemed like this year the match was a little different than normal, but it's kind of sad to see that the Battle of the North Coast will take a step to the side for the next couple years, but for good reasons, for other matches in Ohio to be running.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, keep in mind that they've been doing that for 6 years now, and it's been the same, for the most part, the same team doing that this whole 6 years. So what we've decided, what we talked about, and I'm also, for those of you that don't know me, I'm also the one of the match directors at Cardinal Practical Shooters in Central Ohio, also known as Brian's favorite state. And we are going to be running the Buckeye Blast next year and Area 5. So we
Mm-hmm.
were working with the team at Battle for the North Coast. We're like, hey, what do you think about us running Area 5 on the weekend that Battle would typically be? And you guys take a couple years off. And they actually brought that up to us. So we are running with it. So we're going to give them 2 years off. They're still going to be there. They're going to still be working Battle for the North Coast after we get done with Area 5. And they're still going to be working Area 5 too. So they're still going to be busy and working, but just won't be running that match for the next couple of years.
Yeah, between Bud Conley and what's Bretton's last name anyway?
Breton Rebel.
Rebel, not Rebel. He can't do a Rebel yell. He can do a Rebel yell.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Right, but but yeah, those guys. It's kind of been misfortune. I haven't made it down to the battle yet, and I guess it'll have to wait. So
Yeah, but on the upside, what did you do in shooting?
oh, that was great. That's a great segue, Corey. No, I spent the weekend hanging out or babysitting my good friend Tom Castro. I hosted him up here at Brooklyn Sportsman's Club for the Tom Castro Shooting Academy intro class. Well, I wouldn't call it an intro class. It's definitely an immediate, almost low level advanced class, but it's a practical shooting class. Spending 2 days full on the range, learning new techniques, running stages, and it was a fantastic time. Honestly, it was. I was on the range probably 13 hours each day, but well worth the love that it takes. So I'm really glad that I had Tom there.
For sure. Tell me a little bit more about that. You were telling me beforehand you were with Tom. So not only did you pick Tom up from the airport,
Yep.
he stayed at your place for the weekend.
Yep.
Plus, you were on the range with him for 13 hours a day.
Yeah.
Plus, you took him back to the airport. Tom has got to be so sick of you at this point.
No, he well, yes and no. He knows how to turn me off. He's really, I think, sick of my dog because every time we came home, my dog Reggie would want to just roll around and play with him. And it kind of, Tom even told me, he's like, I mean, makes me miss my dog. His dog passed away at some point, and so just having that companionship is needed. I know our buddy Brian's like, nope, no pets, no kids, but I think we need all animal companions. So yeah, I picked him up. I was a really good host. I picked him up from the airport. He stayed at my house. I drove him around all weekend and then took him home. I was appreciative that he changed his flight on Monday morning to like 11. So we weren't literally staying up all night to drive to the Detroit airport, which is an hour and 30 minutes from my house. But I'm also glad we didn't go to the Chicago airport, which is 3 hours away. So
I'm sure he's glad for his gun's sake that he also didn't fly into the Chicago airport because something tells me his guns wouldn't be here.
right. Well, yeah. And then the worst part is you never want to get a connecting flight in Chicago. Well, I don't say that. I can't know for sure, but New York City for sure. Just don't take your guns on a connection flight. Just let the airport keep them.
Too many crazy stories of flying with guns. Hearing on Brian's podcast, Behind the Lens, the craziness of people getting losing guns in other countries because they happen to be flying through there. So too crazy.
Right. But I did like this comment from Brian. He loves how the Area 5 match moves around. It is nice, important to build up other clubs, which it was interesting. I was listening to, what was that? The live podcast debate with Kyle Stevens and Ben Barry. And they were talking about rental fees or cost of the fees for the range. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that matters at some point. Like it just,
For sure.
we just move it around to clubs and say, all right, you as the club coordinator or match director deal with your host club, whatever
Right.
it's going to be. It's not like we're renting a range. I mean, we are renting a range, but it's in a way different manner than like Area 6 functions.
Well, it depends because so you've got a club like Brooklyn where you guys have to pay a per shooter head count basically into the general fund, but everything else you get to keep. Whereas for Cardinal, we pay for the range. We rent the range every weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
So
rent the
it's a little bit
range.
different. Brooklyn is, just because that's what we know. Brooklyn is a club, is a USPSA club that's hosted at a club.
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
club.
Another 503c.
Right. Whereas Cardinal is run by a 501c3, but it's at a for-profit entity.
Correct. Which definitely can be interesting um, in that regard. But I mean, the range is going to get their fees no matter what it seems like,
For sure.
but that's how ranges should be there to make money, not lose money. So
Right. If ranges always only lost money, unfortunately, we wouldn't have many ranges left.
right, exactly, yeah, and we need these ranges. And with the problem with all these subdivisions moving in on property, you're going to lose a range eventually. Not Cardinal. Cardinal owns all of that little town. It seems
They own the
like
whole county. No.
the whole county.
That's the rumor, was that at one point that the gentleman that owned Cardinal owned like 60% of the county.
Wow,
So
that's that is insane in my opinion. But hey, with a facility like that, you can do anything.
for sure.
Is there now? I don't know if you know anything about this, but is there any plans for expansion of the property at this moment for the pistol side?
Not right now. They just expanded. So over the winter, we just expanded from 12 bays to 21 bays. So I don't see it happening right now. But I think with any good opportunity, they're willing to have a conversation. So we'll see.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was any talks of. Well, did you guys are you guys get any more props, or is the club going to buy any more props this year?
Yeah, I mean we're always on the hunt for props. So I mean we've invested in, I think we've got like 10 or 12 swingers now, um, some bobbers, some other things. So got a
Yeah.
plenty of props. We just for Buckeye Blast 2023, we just wanted to focus on the basics, and thinking that it's our first match, we wanted to put down something solid that makes sense. And realistically, we're fortunate that we didn't use a ton of props, because if everybody that was there, we got like 3.5 days of rain prior to the match.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
it didn't rain much at the match, but we got 3.5 days of rain during setup. So it would have been pretty rough to have to figure out how to get props on the ground and make sure that they're consistent.
Yeah. Well, you just got to bag the swingers, right? Is that how that works?
Supposedly.
Just got to bag them swingers. But yeah, um, I'm excited for 2024 though. We'll be spending a lot of time down at the Cardinal Shooting Center, so I'm excited about that actually.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure I'm excited as you are, but I'm excited.
Well, here's the nice thing is I can help you with your match in a way, but I'm not a match director. I don't have the stresses of running my own match.
It's kind of like being a parent. Um, Alex, you get to hand the grandkids back to their parents and say, "Hey, here you go. I sugared them up. You get to take care of them now."
Well,
Whereas
that
me,
is somewhat true.
me as the match director, I get to deal with all the problems that you created by sugaring up the match.
I mean, that's only the problem is because you let me work the match.
It's fair. Let me reconsider that.
That's fine. It's okay, Brian. I'm sorry, not everything can be in Alabama. Although I do like how Forrest Gump says Alabama, but it's okay. Ohio's not that bad, unless they make everyone say OHIO like every 5 minutes on the range.
There's a great song that I sent to Brian a couple weeks ago. It says, "Why, oh, why, Ohio? Why did I ever leave Ohio?" And I sent that to him. I thought about sending it to Brian as he was leaving Ohio to go up to, on his like 15 state road trip up north,
Hmm.
but I didn't. I spared it for him. So I'll send that over to him again.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like that song by Bowling for Soup, "Come Back to Texas," right?
Yep.
They just don't like it when you're in Ohio, but it's okay. I don't mind it because it's only 3.5 hours away.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. So let's talk about stuff that was not in Ohio this last weekend.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, because there's nothing going on in Ohio last weekend.
there was nothing literally going on in Ohio last weekend, other than a couple local matches. But let's talk about some major matches from last weekend. Let's start with Area 8.
Oh, absolutely. Do we want to switch off which majors we're talking about, or do we want to go per division on each match?
Let me pull it up here.
All right,
So,
I will start with the open category, at least for Area 8. The winner was so third place was John Vlieger, wears Hunter's HD Gold. John's a funny guy. If you actually get to know him, sometimes you don't want to know him, but John's a good dude. Followed by Casey Eusebio of Taurus and June Kim coming out of. I was really surprised to see June Kim hold the win through the weekend. I was watching this match like very closely on practice score. So that's I think June Kim's first level 3 match win since he just started shooting open this year, I think.
yeah, that's awesome. Good for him. Good for him. So we'll move on to PCC. Your bestie, Tom Castro,
Yep.
um, followed by Greg Jordan and Scott Rader.
Yeah, Scott's actually he used to be an Area 8 guy. I think he was a Marine on the Marine Corps shooting team, and now he's working for Sig Sauer at I want to say it's a training facility, whatever they call their Sig Sauer Academy or
Yeah.
whatever. So he came to Area 5. He sent a lot of ammo. Funny enough, was they sent two whole it had to have been 2,000 rounds they'd shipped twice or something. So for him and his other buddy, and yeah, they only used one box and they left the whole other case there. So
Nice.
so Ken was very lucky to keep a case of ammo.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both Greg Jordan and Scott are unclassified PCC shooters. So it's pretty impressive to take second and third at a pretty stacked um, area match like that because
Yeah, there was no slouches on this one really. You had Sam Callahan from the area. Corey Shield came in sixth. I don't know if he had a gun problem or what. Did you talk to Corey since the match?
I haven't. He was he was working pretty hard at Battle for the North Coast. Um, so I don't know whether he was just wasn't focused on the match, but it's hard when you're sitting there and you're also a person in the industry, a manufacturer of a major product. It's hard to balance the people tapping on your shoulder when hey, can you tell me about the buffer system? Well,
Hmm.
how do you balance that? So I
Right.
can't imagine balancing it.
Yeah, and then we had Cardi B coming in fifth. Todd Jarrett, no slouch in PCC on fourth. So
Yeah,
a pretty stacked field and probably a really nice win for Tom right going into nationals.
for sure.
We have some nationals predictions a little bit later in the show, so um, so we will definitely talk about our predictions there. I'm going to cover carry optics at this point. We've got some names I don't recognize, but honorable mention to Morgan Leonhardt, Team Glock shooter, in fifth. That's really impressive for an area match, beating a lot of GMs in this match. So she really did some work. Luke Cow coming in fourth. Jim Steele, I don't know who this is, but he's probably hopefully I've seen his name on some matches, but I don't know who he is. He won A class at third. Wow. And then Peyton Gracia. I'm sorry if I botch names. I was not a English major, so. And then Christopher Sendavilsky. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations to all of them. Hey, so who do you think won limited?
Limited. The guy who's won all but Area 1.
Area 3.
Oh, yeah. Area 3. He won at Area 1.
Yeah, Joey Sauerland. Was
Ohio
that
native.
what was that?
He's an Ohio native.
Ohio native, so obviously we're the best state in the country. But anyway, Joey Sauerland won limited, and he has 90% of June Kim, which is pretty impressive on its own. But the next person in limited was Mike with 86.6%. So he gapped people by 4%.
Hmm. And
Uh,
Mike, if I want to believe Mike is a Chicago shooter, I want to say he's a Chicago-born native shooter. So that's he kind of drove out of the way for Area 8.
yeah, that's crazy. Then you've got Nick Reynolds in third,
Hmm.
and then John Browning in fourth. So it was very tight in between um, Nick, Mike, and John Browning, like less than 3%.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, definitely a good field. Joey feels good. It's unfortunate that he's got to go till next year to win all the area matches again, but it'll be okay. Who do you want to think won limited optics?
I know who won because it's right in front of me.
Oh, okay.
Shane Coley.
Mr. Coley from captain of Team Glock taking the W in limited optics.
It's
Um,
interesting to see him, and I understand why he's doing it, but it's good to see him not shooting limited because he's been shooting limited since I really got into majors. So interesting to see him not shooting limited.
yeah, and just as a comment brought up by Brian, open carry optics, limited optics, and PCC were all wearing Hunter's HD Gold. That's pretty fantastic to see. It's a dominant eye pro in the range. Now I'm curious if they were all wearing golds or if any of them were wearing rubies. My personal favorite is the rubies for shooting, but that's just me. I don't know. Corey, have you decided what your preferred glass lens?
So it really depends on what the outside, what it looks like outside. If it's dark, cloudy, overcast, I'm wearing golds.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's super bright, I'm wearing rubies. Rubies are just a little bit darker, which helps when it's super bright sun.
I agree. I do the same thing. Like it all depends when I get out of the vehicle in the morning. But I do typically I do wear on an everyday basis at work. I wear my Hunter's HD Golds that Brian sent me for the office. I've gotten plenty of questions from our EHS manager about them, and I flip open the OSHA and my OSHA regulations, and I'm like, find it. There's nothing wrong with wearing these glasses. So
You're gonna have
uh,
to put on some active blues and see what he says about those.
yes, so yeah, I definitely do. I'm really interested in those. The active blues. Hopefully, I think Annette is going to get some blues on her next set. So, but yeah, Tim Herron came in second in limited optics at 6% behind Shane, and Dan Feltyberg of Sussex Gunworks came in third. So he's the local area 8 guy. So
Yeah, keep in mind that it's Hunter's HD Gold, not Hunter's Gold, not HD Gold.
oh, that's true.
Hunter's HD Gold. Come on, Alex.
Oh, I know. I'm terrible at this. Shoot me now. Did anyone actually shoot limited 10? I'm curious about this, y'all. Oh, like 4 people, but I guess it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, so we've got production, we've got limited 10. Um, yeah,
Yes, Sal Luna taking the W in production, and um, no one really of mention in single stack either. So I guess we'll move on to what
single
do you
stack.
want? Yeah, what?
James looks like James McGinty in single stack.
Do you know who that is? Because I have no
I,
idea.
I don't.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So you want to let's cover Illinois. I think we can speed through this. And there was the Illinois section. I know Tim Herron actually won limited optics down there as well. But there was definitely a lot of shooting on this weekend because there was 4 major matches.
Yeah, for sure. So you've got in Carry Optics, you've got Jake Walker, John Martello, and Josh Espinoza.
All local-ish guys to me. In limited, we've got Hunter Burrell, Uncle Joe Sanchez, Ryan Sitnar taking up the limited wins.
Limited Optics, you've got Tim Herron, Dave Del Rosario, and Elmer Rodriguez for
I know
second.
all those guys. Tim's the shortest of anyone, but he doesn't use the height. I'm surprised. There was actually I saw some video, and I don't know if Tim actually used any of the short people props because they had some really tall walls. In your open winners, or at least the top 3, Lark Senzia, Craig Tappy, and Rob Kosak.
In PCC, you've got Charles Parisi, Steve Cash, and David Pagel. Probably no relation to Walt Pagel, right?
I mean, if he did, he'd probably hide it anyway. Doug, there is nothing wrong with single stack except when there's hardly any participation at a major match. It's not that it's dying. It's a true diehards division, I guess, to shoot single stack in a optics race high cap game nowadays. It's
Hey,
unfortunate.
don't forget, they're not competing against each other.
They're not, but stage designers are dickholes. I'm gonna say it. They're like, no, if you're not a you're not a good stage designer unless you look at it from multiple divisions:
That's fair.
open, carry optic. Well, honestly, a high cap and then a low cap division. You got to think about the single stack guys or the revolver guys who've got to shoot. Make it an interesting stage for them too.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right on. So in production, you've got Clark Wright, Michael Kissenwetter, and James Starborough.
Revolver, they had 2. They actually look like maybe they're married. The God, can you even pronounce those last names for me, Corey?
Yeah, it's Russ and Joanne.
But that's their first names.
Russ is actually I've met Russ. I've shot with Russ. Really good guy. He's a range master. Um, Good guy to be around. He's actually a pilot as well. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that is pretty cool. Oh, and then our buddy, Mr. Leif Kunkel, taking the W in single stack at um, Illinois. Honorable mention, Mr. Cody Dengler in fifth. So it's funny. I don't know if you actually paid attention to Facebook lately, but Cody was talking about major matches and whatnot. And I was making sure that his dad was going to be with him to do photos next year. And Tessa's, if you saw Tessa's comment, it was hilarious. But because Cody's dad is way better than him, unfortunately.
Brian, that's a great question. I need to figure something out. Although this is also my work background, so maybe we'll figure something out that's relatively neutral.
Oh,
But
there you go. Yeah,
definitely
yeah, you could put bourbon behind you. That's for sure.
figure out some bourbon. I've got a little bit of it, so
Right, but you could get some awesome banners from Go Fast Don't Suck. They're not the sponsor of this show, but Go Fast Don't Suck has some awesome banners, guys.
it could be Bill if you're listening.
But he's already the lead sponsor of the podcast. I can't ask him to double dip. It's already so much. But Bill Biddle's a good dude. He was actually at Area 8. I think he was either selling stuff or he was match support at Area 8 this year. So
Yeah, I saw that.
Tennessee sectional. We've got. We'll go with one of them or two. We got. Looks like the overall win was Chris Barrett. Was a PCC GM. Garen Singleton with a Carry Optics win. Brennan Conaway with the open win. And let's see. Limited Optics was won by Paul Kerr. I think that's all mentioned because I think it takes forever to find the next. Oh, the production shooter. Weston Hensley won production. And Limited was won by Tad Nose.
Yeah, and then for Minnesota, we've got Carry Optics, Ben Edgleston. Honorable mention to Tanfo Timmy.
Yes,
We've
sir.
got Limited by Colin Maxton. Limited 10. They did have one person, Ronald Tolentino. Limited Optics, Robert Strange. Open by John Ecton. PCC, Josh Freilich. That's kind of in his backyard. Stephen Lutman for production. Revolver, Pete Berg. And last but not least, single stack, Jeff Grimm.
There we go. Definitely some winners. Brian says, I was at the Tennessee sectional this past weekend. AM shooters had great weather, and PM shooters had rain delay and finished in the darkness. That sucks. We can't control the weather, but I remember Jay Graham was talking about it was so hot on staff day that he had to stop 2 stages early due to heat exhaustion. So that's good on them that they stopped the shooters and got them out of the heat. So
Exactly. I completely agree with that. So now that we're through some last week, let's talk about this weekend. What are you shooting this weekend, Manny?
I'm shooting one big match. It seems like I'm going down to the Cardinal Shooting Center for the second time this year. First local match, if you could call it a local match. What do we call it? The Cardinal Extravaganza
We're
or
calling it
something?
the Cardinal September Extravaganza.
Phew.
Yeah, put some CGI on this whole thing.
Darn it! I should have that prepped better.
Come on.
I'll have it better
Next
for next
time.
time. Yeah.
So Cardinal the Extravaganza is 8 USPSA stages, 4 Steel Challenge stages, and for $35 you get to shoot both. For $50 you get to shoot both as many times as you want, plus lunch.
Plus lunch.
Plus,
I'm really.
including
What
lunch.
what is Don making for lunch? I'm curious now.
Last I heard, it was tacos. But Don is also a chef, so
Okay.
it's not just like we're running to Taco Bell. We are. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah,
Well,
that will be great.
yeah,
But I'm excited. I was convinced. I was literally the solo guy from Team FML coming down to Cardinal, and now I've got both my teammates coming down. But go ahead and cover this banner.
yeah, for sure. In addition, Brian will be at Kentucky IDPA Classic. That is a match hosted by my good friend Aaron Broke, and there is no USPSA this weekend in Kentucky because at least at Bluegrass Sportsman's because they have an IDPA match.
Yeah, I think they traded weekends so they could do IDPA. It makes sense. I guess it's a better weekend, honestly.
Yeah.
Instead of the first. Well, it's the first weekend, but it, there's so much crap going on the first weekend in our like in the Midwest. It's hard.
Oh, Area 5 is stacked with first weekend stuff. So
Oh yeah, but it's cool. IDPA Classic, so it's single stack. I want to say single stack and revolver only for this match. So, well, I'm sorry, not single stack. It'd be CDP and whatever revolver division it is. But
I am proud to say that I've never shot a sanctioned IDPA match.
mhm.
Not that I wouldn't, but it's just not my sport.
All right. So, Corey, so why did you and Dan decide to do the extravaganza for September?
Um, I'm not exactly sure. We just Dan and I kind of came up with it. We started rolling with it. Unfortunately, Dan, part of it is Dan won't be there this next on Sunday, so we wanted to come up with a way that one man could run it, and how better than getting a bunch of people involved to run it. Um, so we are doing open squatting. We've got a couple of stage ROs, stuff like that going on, plus lunch and all that good stuff. It's just a fun time. It's kind of like a shooter appreciation event. We're also using this to raise a little bit of money for a kids camp that we're going to be holding in 2024. So if anybody remembers, we did a gun giveaway, a gun raffle at Buckeye Blast for the Buckeye Blaster, which has been defiled. But that's the point.
It's because it lives in Michigan, right?
It does live in Michigan, and it's very sad. But we've got so we did that for the kids camp. We're also doing this extravaganza for the kids camp. Just a little bit, it was a little bit more. We want the kids to have some skin in the game, but we don't want it to be outlandish to have to pay for it.
Right now, with the kids camp, do you have any idea when the kids camp is yet, or is that still being discussed and planned due to
Still
other
in,
schedules?
still in the works.
Fair enough.
Have to
I would
a
expect
couple
that.
other things get announced before we can put a date on the calendar for that one.
Right. Yeah. You're better to wait and be a little late on dates than have to change dates.
Exactly.
It's very hard at that point. Well, I'm excited. I know Ken, aka Fluffy, and Wes Lucky are coming down to the match now. I convinced them to come. I guess it wasn't that hard. I just said I'm not shooting with you guys this weekend since I'm going to Ohio. You can come with me or not. But it was like it was funny enough. I'll narc them out. Ken was like the next day, "What time do you plan on leaving if you're going to Ohio?" So I was like, "I already got you in the bag, then, buddy. You just want to know when we're gonna meet up." So,
Yep. Exactly.
so I'm excited. It'll be the first look. We're working on what the range 2, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's got to be on range 2. That's where the Steel Challenge stuff is set up. Plus, we're doing. Plus, we are doing lunch, which is going to be run out of the building. So easier to be on range 2.
Speaking of the building, how is that coming along? I haven't been there since Buckeye Blast, so.
It's pretty much done. I mean, it's pretty great.
But we're not going to have lunch in there for major matches next year, are we?
No. So what we're planning on doing for major matches is actually to utilize another building on the Cardinal campus.
Is this the same building they did awards at for nationals?
Yes.
Okay. How you were at nationals, but did you go to the awards or did you dip out and leave early?
Oh, not the awards. Correction, not the awards. It was the same building that they used for. It was the same. We're going to be using the same building that they used for the staff dinner
Okay.
for our stuff, which is over in the campground. But it's a
Okay.
bigger. But yeah, as Brian said, the building's awesome. Excited. We are too. It's great to have a gun shop on the range. Like, how many outdoor ranges have a full gun shop?
Yeah.
Hopefully, one of these days we'll have the ability to sell Hunters HD Golds out of the gun shop too. Maybe.
Oh, that'd be excellent to have them stocked there.
Yeah. The challenge is, as Brian has told me multiple times, they're hard to sell to Joe Public. They need to try them on, and then
But
they.
you put rubies down there. You don't even need to put golds. You just put the rubies down there and tell the shotgunners to come down.
Gotcha, Brian. I'll work on Jim.
Yeah, I've met Jim. That reminds me, I've got to find my Red Feather Outfitters hat because that's what that building is in.
Yeah.
At the middle of Range 2 is the Red Feather Outfitters.
The
And
biggest challenge, though, and I'll be honest with you, they call it Shotgun World,
mhm.
and then Pistol is the island because we're way away from Shotgun. And that's the way we like it. Because shotgunners, as we know, not the most safe people in the world. But so we like to stay away from Shotgun. But Shotgun typically doesn't come down and visit.
Mhm.
When they do, they don't wear glasses. So we had to ask multiple people to put on glasses at Buckeye Blast because they just would pull down and that's not what's wrong with Ohio. That's just the shotgunners in Ohio.
I no, it's not just shotgunners in Ohio. It's just oh, see, there's Daniel, my judge. Oh man, Daniel, he did the OHIO thing. That's too funny. But you've already got Bobby hooked up for next year, right?
Yeah, I told Dan that I wasn't going to do the match unless Bobby was part of it.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, everyone knows that you need Bobby food. God, those breakfast burritos. I keep. I'm gonna have to go
Yeah.
down there for Ironside Nationals and get some barbecue sauce, though.
Yep, I'll be there for a couple days, and I'm getting a breakfast burrito every day. Saving my money right now.
Yeah, no shit. Just have him have Dan pick up the bill.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so let's talk about some national predictions. We're
Yep.
1 week out tomorrow
Yep.
from the PCC Open Nationals, not
Sponsored by Vortex.
sponsored by Vortex and Sig Sauer, I believe.
Yep. I actually have the matchbook pulled up, so I'm gonna verify that.
I
It's
think
got
all
pretty
the
artwork. I mean, you guys were smart though for Buckeye Blast to have the guy who does the Nationals
oh,
one.
great. Yeah, for sure. I didn't want to do it.
Hey, Dan.
Why don't you put the matchbook up? Can you share it?
Yeah, give me
So,
two.
Alex,
What?
number 3 for Open.
My number 3 for Open had to be the reigning national champion, Mr. Mr. Aaron Edens.
Okay. My number 3 is the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Hyder, out of the great state of Ohio.
Okay, so why did you put Hyder in third?
Because honestly, I didn't really have much of a reason to put Hyder in third. I unfortunately I haven't seen Sailor or Eden's, which I just gave my other two away, shoot in person in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to it's hard to tell you that.
Right. No, that makes definite sense. So I'm gonna make my screen just a little bigger, if possible. I don't know. There we go. It's covering us both up, but I'll get rid of it in a bit. You're not wrong. I think Aaron, from talking with people in Aaron, he says that there's hardly been any competition at these level 3 matches. So not saying he isn't putting in the work, but I definitely can see where he could slip up and take third. But
For
my second pick is funny enough is we both have the same people in different spots. I picked our buddy Mr. Andrew Hyder for second, seeing all the work he's been doing and how close he was last year. Going into the third day, at the end of the second day, I want to think he was definitely in the lead and could have won the match, but with a couple of mics, it was the that got him at the end of the day. Which dropped him to the place where he finished. But I really think he's a national contender, so I picked Hyder for second.
Oh, and he's totally a national contender. I mean, I don't think realistically in between the first and third spots you're going to see more than a 5% is huge. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you're going to see more than a 5% difference between first and third.
Oh no, nationals is where everyone is all lined up on top of
Right.
each other, and
So, I have Edens as second. I have Sailor as first. I I don't think there's a bad choice. If I was just to roll a dice, I think we would be just as accurate as coming up with it on paper like we are.
yeah, Daniel God as my judge said, hey, last weekend here in Ohio at Crawford County Sportsman's Club, I want to believe
Yeah.
he was following Mr. Hyder around. 1.79 classifier. I'm curious what classifier that was, Daniel, because it had to have been something spicy. But I did pull up a couple. I did pull up the matchbook, so as you can see on the screen, obviously the stage one definitely looks like you got to run to all the spots, which I'm not a big fan of. Like, it does not seem like there's much opportunity for shooting on the move in
Yeah,
this stage. So it's going to be, I wouldn't call it Ipsy, but it's definitely. I know the designer of the stage. I won't oust him. You know him too, Corey, but
I mean,
it's not my
all
favorite.
the designers, all the stages. So
Yeah, it's not my favorite design of a stage. This stage, I think, looks a little bit better to be able to flow some stuff together. It seems like on stage two, but nothing's really
so
sticking
it's so
out for
hard to
me.
tell, and I don't even, as a shooter, I don't even look at the matchbooks for like how I'm going to shoot the stage or anything like that because there is literally no way to get them exactly the same on paper as they are on the ground.
No, all you can do is really get themes, or what's the start position, what kind of flavor
Yeah,
you think you'll get from the stage. Um, and I'm a little disappointed in most national match stages, is because most local matches or area matches, level two matches, are going to promote shooting on the move. At nationals, it seems like you must run to a spot, shoot the spot, and then leave.
for sure.
It's not like how everyone designs a major match everywhere else, which I think is the disconnect, I think, for people designing stages. But it's not that I don't believe you, Daniel. I'm just curious which number this is.
I would love to see the video.
Yes, that is true. I would love to see the video. Um, I didn't see anything that could. I mean, there's a couple fixed times in here and there. This one's Comstock, but I'm excited to see how Nationals plays out. It's less stages than Carry Optics or Nationals for Open Nat last year. So we will see how that turns out. Yeah, another stage that is run to all the spots.
Yeah.
So
Well, anyway, we can put a kibosh on watching.
yeah, I don't want to keep sharing my screen anyway. Good job. Thank you for taking that off because I'd have
Yeah, no
forgot.
worries. But just a quick reminder: until tomorrow night at midnight, if you follow Manny Talk Shooting and Hunters HD Gold on Rumble, you have the opportunity to, or you actually get a $200 off MSRP of Hunters HD Gold, Hunters HD Ruby, or Active Blue. They have to do both. You have to do both, and then email Brian at Hunters HD Gold, and he will send you $200 off MSRP of any of his three products.
Yeah. I recommend that you take the deal because you're not going to get a better opportunity unless you win it at a match to get that kind of money off.
Right. And keep
You
in mind, like Brian just confirmed it, this is not the standard, oh, you'll enter it in to win $200 off. This is you get $200 off.
Yeah, you're saving a boatload of money on your excellent eyewear that you definitely need. But the problem is now I've got one of those cases that holds two pairs of glasses. But luckily enough, Active Blue doesn't need to go into my shooting case. It needs to be on my face at all times.
Right.
But
Well, you're giving me a new case. I think I can put a lot of glasses in that new case that you're giving me. So
yeah. Oh yeah, but you won't. That's not for that. So Brian says he shot two stages from the matchbook at Oak Hill on Sunday. That doesn't surprise me since somebody probably wanted to test him out before he put them on the ground at Nationals. I did get a report on the ground from Nationals. All the stages are on the ground, so I think
oh,
they're already done ahead of time.
they
So
started set up yesterday. So
so
having
it's
all the
not.
stages already on the ground is pretty impressive.
Yeah, so well, it's either set up and they're going to tweak a million things,
Oh,
or
for sure. In the
but
next 4 days will be walk it, walk it, walk it, walk it, walk it.
oh yeah, oh yep.
So
And Brian is remembering us. It's got to be on Rumble. Got to follow them both on Rumble.
follow Manny Talk Shooting and Hunters HD Gold on Rumble. Get $200 off MSRP of Hunters HD Gold, Hunters HD Ruby, or Active Blue. Also, if you guys haven't seen Active Blue yet, I know we've been talking about it. Go check out the Rumble. There's a live stream that Brian did last week that really goes over into detail all the amazing things about Active Blue and how they and what they do. Really, really cool technology that is seems like it's brand new to the definitely brand new to Brian's line. Seems like it's pretty brand new to the whole like lens technology in general. But I'm not.
Right. And another note, it's not just if you watch it, it's not just another lens for shooting. It's a lifestyle lens. If you go pay attention, go watch Brian's video on Rumble. When him and Dustin Sanchez are talking about the idea of the lens and the lifestyle, it's really cool. I really enjoyed that part of it. Not that I didn't enjoy the rest of it with the other two guests. God, I'm forgetting about the podcaster, radio guy in the beginning, but I know he had what Fancy Plants McLean on there
Yeah.
in the middle, and then Brian's gonna shoot me for not knowing the guy, but I have. Unfortunately, I've never watched him either, so I need to change that. But Corey, let's talk a little bit about you, PCC predictions. So I think this is where our lists really diverge.
Michael Bain. That's right.
Michael Bain, he's on the list now.
For sure. For sure. So PCC, this is my game. So it's kind of cool. Like opens your sport, only shoot open, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
I say only shoot PCC. Although I am shooting limited optics at the handgun nationals.
Yep.
But so, Alex, you're going crazy here. Who you putting in third?
Who am I putting in third? I'm not going crazy. I have not seen this man shoot a rifle yet this year, so I don't know if he's been too dedicated with his own shooting sport, and his voodoo priest, which he's been rocking at matches. But I also remember not last year or the year prior, one of the other guys in my list is definitely was on his toes and beating him until he had an oopsie at the match. So I put Max Leograndis, the reigning champion, in third.
Okay, I think you're wrong.
That's fine. We can pretend to be wrong, but that's just my prediction with what I've seen. And it almost feels like, not that he's resting on his laurels, but it almost seems like he will be dethroned like Max Michel was dethroned.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. So
I would say that he probably doesn't need. Number one, we don't know how much he's shooting offline, but I would say he probably doesn't need to shoot a ton of PCC because he is a master with the PCC. Anyway, I'm going to go out to fifth. Okay. You went to third. I'm going to go to fifth. Corey Shield, fifth place.
Where did Corey finish last year?
11th.
Okay.
Corey is on the super squad. Brian, as much as I love you, I won't be in Alabama. Can't make myself go to Alabama. So I will not be top 30 because I will not even be there.
This is actually what we should have done. We should have gone to Alabama together.
Oh, we should have.
Why did we not think of this? God,
what are you doing? I'm free next weekend. Just saying.
I'm not, but I don't think there's open slots to get into nationals.
No, we can go. We'll just stay at Brian's place.
That's fine. I mean, dang it. I don't know. Sherry might like her house with just her and Brian in it now, so I don't want to get in the middle of that one.
So, my fourth place, Tom Castro. Side note, both Corey and Tom are shooting Da Vinci rifles.
Yeah, most major matches you find people are shooting Da Vinci rifles. It's that or the JP5.
Yeah. Chris, you're so right. Corey is shooting he's on fire this year. So I think he's got a true shot at it. I'm going to say that the 5 people I just tossed up there, any of them could win.
Mm-hmm.
So my third place is Josh Freilich.
Right. Okay, I can see that. And it just doesn't seem like Josh shoots very much or actively and competes with a PCC or at all, but he's still a freaking powerhouse lumberjack.
Well, so keep in mind with Josh, one big thing with Josh is he is not just shooting PCC, he's shooting a lot of 3-gun. So, and he's got a lot going on too, with F5 and stuff like that. So we'll see. What's your second?
I have Josh in second, purely because he's got raw ability. He uses his athleticism. He's got his own private range, but I can see him taking second. Like he put a lot of pressure onto Leograndis the year 2021. So we'll see how it ends at the end of the match if he's shooting. I'm assuming he's shooting. I forgot to scan over the PCC Super Squad reserved list. So
yeah. So I have Justine Williams in second. This would be a repeat for her. Last year she was by herself in second. I think she's got it. I think she's got the ability. I think she was a couple percent shy of Max Leograndis, who I have in first, for the umpteenth year in a row. But she killed it last year. So
right. There's nothing wrong with that. I do pose this question though, Corey, is a lot of the PCC Super Squad or the heavy hitters in PCC had to shoot on the early flight, like the staff flight. It seemed like because there was also a AK match out west that they had to attend due to sponsors. So
Right.
so I don't necessarily know if those guys performed at their top level, but nothing again does
Oh,
not take anything away from Justine, but it could have skewed the data just slightly um, in last year's match. So I
100%. But there's two things that I would say don't skew the data.
mhm.
Max was 100% of points. Justine was 94.94% of points. So even if she was fourth or fifth, she was still shot 94% of max, which is pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely impressive, especially for a shooter of her caliber. She's she came in second. Not just a ladies. She didn't just win a ladies title. She
Right.
beat however many PCC shooters behind her.
I mean, so
Um,
keep in mind that so Scott Green and Josh Freilich were the two that shot with staff, and they shot 90. Scott shot 93%, and Josh shot 92%. So those two shot with staff. You're right. There probably is a little asterisk next to their name because they shot with staff. But I'm not saying I don't think it's impossible for her to go in and take second again.
oh no, not at all. I can definitely see her taking that as well. So I don't discredit her. Maybe I would put her. I'm gonna put her. If I was gonna have to add her, I'd put her in fourth on my
Okay.
list.
Fair.
Not to discredit her. I don't know if Lena's shooting the match. I kind of hope that Lena would come and shoot the match, but I'd like to see them duke it out again. So
Yeah, I don't know. I know Lena's been. I've seen Lena's focused a lot on her new Sig Rose, um, and I have seen Lena focusing a lot on shotgun because she's headed to Shotgun Worlds in November.
and yeah, in South no Thailand.
Yeah,
So Doug puts it. I guess I forgot to mention that we forgot to talk about the ladies champion. I guess is her name is now Jessie Harrison. I don't know if she's going to change her name to Jessie Eusebio, but I don't know. I would like to see someone put pressure on her. Like it doesn't. I would love to see Megan Smiley or Sloane Sanders be able to take down Jessie. We'll see. We'll see how it goes at the match, but they're definitely a good contender for her to keep her battling. So I haven't seen Athena Lee shoot a lot lately, so we'll see. Maybe she'll pop up too. But I do have my boy Tom Castro in first in PCC. He just came off that really demanding victory at Area 8 with the rifle, so I'm knowing him and his training schedule and talking to him personally. This is one of the best matches he's ever shot in his life, so he's going to go and take that win into PCC Nationals. First time on the Super Squad. My
it'll be
vote's on Tom.
interesting. There are a lot of people that are first time on the Super Squad for PCC. So Corey Shield, Tom Castro, at least those two are first time on the Super Squad. It's I've heard from a lot of people. It's a completely different animal being on the Super Squad.
Mm-hmm.
So big thing is don't they just can't get it in their heads that they're in the not in not in a too positive way, but in a negative way that they're shooting with some of these great shooters.
Mm-hmm.
They just got
Right.
to go shoot their own match.
Right, exactly. And I don't know if the Super Squads of now are like the ones of old, where everyone was playing head games with each other. So we'll see. Um, I'm expecting Nationals to go over well. I haven't looked at the weather forecast for next week in Talladega, Alabama. So hopefully it's a nice weather day. I'm really disappointed, not in USPSA itself, but when the cell phone provider signal took a shit down in Talladega and we stopped live streaming Nationals. I really miss experiencing Nationals from home. I remember the last Carry Optics Nationals and the Open Nationals. While I was stuck working on the weekend at work, on the big screen would be Nationals playing, and everyone's like, "This is really cool." I'm like, "Yeah, duh." I mean, it's Nationals. It's a really cool event. I love that everyone can go to Nationals. I wish more people could be able to go to Nationals.
Thanks, Chris. Good to see you.
All right.
Maybe Brian will do some live streaming from Nationals.
I mean, yeah, I liked seeing every stage. It was cool to be able. They popped it around. Yeah, Starlink in Ohio. So that's really cool. It's just unfortunate. I loved that they were doing it, and then it stopped.
I agree.
And
Completely agree. So let's close this show, Manny.
yeah, we're getting near the end. Um, but I mean, yeah, okay, Doug. I'll see your comment. If USPSA could manage their money better, maybe they could live stream national. Um, but maybe.
Maybe. Talking about weather, though, we got a weather report from the man, myth, legend, Brian Conley, who lives like 45 minutes from there. Wink, wink. Nationals weather report 89 high, Wednesday 94. So Tuesday 89, Wednesday 94. Hopefully it cools down for them Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah, Brian,
but long
we're
as there's no
totally good.
rain. Rain is bad. But
Rain is
yes.
bad.
But we're
So,
not gonna finish the show without talking about this. Best for last.
100% not. Two big things going on in USPSA: the presidential runoff between Luigi Lee and Yi Min Lin, and the Area 6 runoff between Brian Barry,
You mean Ben Berry?
sorry, between Ben Barry and Kyle
Kyle.
Stevens.
Oh, how did you forget Kyle's name?
Right there, right on the top of the head.
All right.
So, if you have not voted yet and you are not in Area 6, go vote for either Luigi Lee or Yi Min Lin. If you're in Area 6, you also have the second option for the Area 6 directors.
Mm-hmm.
This is happening now. You will have until the end of September to vote.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like to, especially we were just talking about from Snowman. If you don't like what's going on in USPSA, let's vote. Let's vote a different way, and it's perfectly fine.
Right. And
So
yes, you please vote. I mean, it's almost as bad as the presidential election. Nobody votes, so please go out and vote. Talk to your area directors if you've got concerns. Email them. Email board@uspsa.org if you've got
what's
overarching concerns.
BOARD? Just saying, it's BOARD, not BORED.
I mean, they honestly they should have it so it would forward to the other email address. But go vote. There's definitely, if you want to listen to Kyle Stevens, Ben Barry talk it out, and Luigi Lee and Yi Min Lin, go check out my buddy David Riddle of the Casual Shooters podcast. He did debates. I listened to those this week before voting yesterday.
Man,
Listen, yeah.
some of those are rough.
Yeah, I was disappointed in both Kyle's audio and Luigi's because I don't understand if it's guys in Florida who can't have who can't get their internet right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Brian. We appreciate it. And yeah, David did knock it out of the park. 100%. David did what we needed to do. So it's great to see that there's someone else like us in the shooting sports, like Brian, like David, that are really hardcore helping get the word out.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So go to your local matches, talk to your fellow shooters, ask if they vote, because we need everybody to vote to make a difference in the elections. So go check them out. I highly talk to the candidates. If you're on the fence about voting for Ben or Kyle or Yimin or Luigi, hit them up. They're going to talk to you. I mean, if you're messaging them, it might take a little bit of time to get back to you. But hey, you've got all month of September. So it opened up yesterday. It'll end at the end of September. Go vote. Go talk to them. Share your concerns. But also realize that it does take time. Like as Kyle said in the debate, it takes time to make change. Not everything can happen immediately. You've got to work with 8 other people on the board to make things happen.
Sure. So
take that in consideration, guys. So if something doesn't happen immediately, they've got to work with each other. They can't.
But that also doesn't mean that you can't tell them, "Hey, why is this not happening?" Because we
Correct.
need that's just as important. Holding people accountable for their actions is just as important as telling them what we want to see done. So,
absolutely, I totally agree on that aspect as well.
Well, let's close it out here, Alex. Who's supporting you?
Who supports me? Oh, you got to make me pull up my big old list. So
Yeah.
I'm supported by a lot of awesome companies who've partnered with me and my podcast, Manny Talk Shooting. But we've got We've got Go Fast Don't Suck, Hunters HD Gold, Dominate Defense, DivTechShop.com, Laugh and Load, Outdoor Dynamics, Summit City Bullets, Targets USA, and Range Panda and Chili Custom Gunworks. So definitely check all those guys out. They're awesome and they support the shooting sports. If you need a discount code for any of those, hit me up. I may be able to help you. Dan, I appreciate that, sir, for you watching and listening.
Yeah.
You as well, Doug. It's an awesome show. I've seen there's about 15 or so at the max that have popped in and watched. So I appreciate all of you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And supporting me, really, I do a lot of this myself, but Hunters HD Gold is a huge supporter, and really just anybody that's willing to go out of their way to help support the Second Amendment, help support the help support matches at Cardinal and elsewhere. So, Hunters HD Gold, GX products, people like that are really what this sport needs. More people like that.
Oh, don't forget, we need more people like Southern Barbecue.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah, we
obviously,
we
sorry.
can't forget Bobby, but we haven't come up with a catchy catchphrase yet to sign this one off yet, guys. But thank you guys. We appreciate you popping on this live stream. We will be here every week, I think, for the
Yeah,
foreseeable future on Thursdays at 7. The time might change a little bit depending on what we find works best for you and us. So if you want to reach out to either of us, Corey, what is your social if they want to hit you up?
it's under Corey Katz or K14TZ on Instagram, I believe.
There you go. You guys, Manny Talk Shooting, DM me with your comments. But we appreciate you, and we're going to
Hey,
sign this.
and Manny, get out and do the things.
Yeah, that's on the fine. Till next time, guys, get out and do the things.